Hello and welcome to another pen video from me, Penultimate Dave. So I have here another pen for review today, and it is an Asvine writing instruments pen. Now, if you don't know, Asvine is a brand out of China. They are selling on eBay a lot. They are selling also on Amazon more recently. And I have to say that this model here is the V169, and I am really actually quite intrigued about this pen because this is actually a pen that I do like the look of a lot. So I think with that, let's unbox this pen. So I'm just going to unbox that, and you'll see when I remove the outer box, there is an inner plastic box, and this is very reminiscent of like the Moon Man boxes, and I believe that the two companies are fairly linked together. So if you'll actually see here, it does actually on the box here have the Asvine logo engraved. I do like the font actually that they are using for this as well. Now, if I unbox this, first off, you get a fountain pen instruction manual, and there are multiple different versions of Asvine pens. So some use cartridge converters, some just use ink cartridges, some are piston filling mechanisms, and then if we go on to the other side, there are some that are eyedroppered and some that are vacuum or vac filling pens or mechanisms. Now, if I just put that to one side, here you have the pen. So it comes in this little bag. Now this doesn't remove it. That is literally all there is in that box. If I remove the pen from this bag, you will see this lovely pen. And I have to say the reason why I like the look of these is that they look fairly similar to a Visconti watermark. Now, I say fairly similar. It's not the same design. The Visconti watermark has V cutouts. These are water droplets, but it's that same kind of sort of metal overlay over a sort of clear or semi-translucent demonstrator that actually intrigued me. The other thing that intrigued me also was that this is essentially a £46 pen. £46, roughly the same in euros, and the same in around about 46 to 50 US dollars. Now, the interesting part of this is a Visconti watermark will cost around about £1,000 euros, probably around about $1,200, or up depending on the model. But it does have either an 18 karat gold nib or a palladium nib. This has a steel nib. But you can see here the sort of intricacies of this sort of pattern here. Now, you do find that this material will actually mark over time, or it does become a little bit of a sort of fingerprint magnet. Now, you can see here the cap finial is just a blank dome. The clip here, if I zoom in a little bit here, you'll see it's spring-loaded a little bit on the rear. You can lift that clip. It is quite a stiff clip. Now, the pen is fairly sort of cylindrical in terms of the diameter, all the way down to the cap band here. And then it tapers down to where the body is, and then it just continues down, and then it tapers down on what is this end cap here. And this is a PowerVac model, so you can unscrew that here, and I will show you here. You just unscrew it, just like a TWSBI or a Visconti. You pull that vac forward and then push it in, and then it sucks up a load of ink. Now, you do see the name Asvine there on what would have been the cap band. I do like this. It is an interesting pen. And for the cost of around about £46, I do find that this is actually a really good price. Now, you can get different nibs on these. So you can get an Asvine nib, which is a Chinese-made nib. So consider it similar to maybe a Jinhao nib. It's an in-house nib. or you can get box nibs. So the V169, I believe, actually comes with the Asvine nibs. There are other models where you can actually choose. I think it's the P36 Asvine, where you can choose between an Asvine nib or a Bock nib. Now, the other thing I want to mention is that it does have an ink window in here as well, as also being a demonstrator, so you'll be able to see the ink. Now, I did show you that you can pull out the power vac mechanism there and that O-ring. But interestingly, I was reading the manual just now, and it was talking about cartridge converters, and I was like, well, this definitely is a power vac. So it's not a cartridge converter, but I realized you can actually unscrew the section. Now, you can't do this on a lot of pens, so you could eyedropper this pen if you so wish. You do have like a clear O-ring there on the edge of that section, so that's going to hopefully stop the ink getting onto those threads and then working their way around and then leaking, which is typically what will happen if you try to eyedropper a pen. But I have to say, for the price, this pen is actually quite an interesting pen. And I know demonstrators are not for everybody, and I know overlays and metal overlays and pens with metal sections are not for everyone. But you can see here, it does have a number 6 size Asvine nib, and I believe these are medium or fine nibs. I'm just going to actually double check to see what it said on my order. I'm pretty sure it was medium, but I'm just double checking just to make sure. Yeah, medium point that I ordered. You can get extra fine points and a fine point as well. I don't think at this moment in time that they're doing broad and double broad or stub nibs, but they may do in the Asvine nib. But you can also see that it's a screw thread here just above the ink window. You can also see a lovely concave section. Now, I really do like pens with concave sections. More so, most of my Viscontis are concave sections, and the reason why is that I find it's enough to stop your fingers slipping off onto the nib and feed, and that's typically what will happen if I don't have a concave section here. So I also find that not only does it protect my fingers from getting a little bit inky, but it also actually just stops my fingers slipping, and it just feels more comfortable when you write. So I'm actually glad that they did put a concave section on there. Now, can you post the cap? You can, and it will post securely. It does make it back weighted though, and it does make it a bit of a wand, as you can see in my hand here. But if you want to post your caps, then you can do so with this pen. It is an interesting pen. I do like the look of it. Now, these do come in a lot of different colors, and I've ordered a few of these, so you'll see some more reviews of these colored pens. But you can get different transparent acrylic and also the colored finish on the metal overlay as well. So you can actually choose a color that you wish. So I think with that, let's go and do a size measurement and a weight check. So the full length of the pen, we are looking about, I want to say, it's about 143 millimeters in length. It's actually quite a long pen. And then the length of the body to the tip of the nib or tip of the tines, we are looking about 130, I would say, millimeters in length. So that is actually quite a decent sized pen. I think we'll move that out of the way, and then we'll do a weight check. And you can see what this is going to be like with it uninked. So the full weight of the pen, you're looking at just under 53 grams in weight. And we'll do a weight on the cap. We're looking at just over 21 grams in weight, and then The weight on the body, we're looking, if I can try and stop it from rolling, almost 31.5 grams in weight. So that is quite a weighty pen compared to a lot of other demonstrator pens. Now, I think what we'll do, we'll do a comparison with other pens. So from left to right, we have an Atelier Lusso Andromeda. We have another Atelier Lusso Andromeda. We have an Esterbrook SD Oversize. We have a Pelican M805 Ocean Swirl. We have the Asvine V169. We have a Leonardo Officina Italiana Momento Zero. We have another Leonardo Officina Italiana Momento Zero, but this is the Grande version. We have a Gravitas, and this is the Skittles. We have a Black Robin Pens Iego, and we have a Scrivo Fill in the Verde Prato. So, let's do a writing sample. So we have the Asvine, and it's the V169, and it is the green gold version. I'm just going to double check just to see what the exact terminology they use for this one. I'm pretty sure it was just green gold. They call it the transparent green with gold trim. So it's the transparent green with gold trim. Now, as I said earlier on, this has a medium nib, and it is a steel nib. It's not, and it's an Asvine nib. It's not a Bock nib. It's not a Jowo nib. It is actually made in-house by Asvine. Now, the ink in here today is Diamine, and it's ultra green. Now, in terms of line width, let's take a look. We've got, I would say, probably somewhere between a fine and a medium without any pressure, although you can see here this is definitely more of a medium. If I push a little bit harder, you're definitely getting a medium out of this nib. It is a steel nib though, so you're not going to get a huge amount of line variation. You can also see there's no hard starts or skips there as well. So that actually says that the nib is actually fairly well tuned, at least for me anyway. We'll do an ink wetness swatch here. And you can see here, this is actually quite a wet nib. So, what do I like, what do I not like about this pen? Well, I like that it's a demonstrator. You can see that the ink is there. Now, I have filled up quite a lot, but you hopefully will see a little bit of ink sloshing around there. But it is very full. I like the design of the pen. Is it a knockoff? Is it an imitation? Is it a direct copy of something like the Visconti watermark? I think it probably is. It certainly is way, way, way cheaper than what a Visconti watermark is. The build quality on this pen, I would say, is as good as the Visconti watermark, which I have and I own, and it's in my collection. I do like the finish on this pen. I do like that you can get different transparent colors on the acrylic in the demonstrator, and also the trim color as well. For me, this pen writes really nicely. It is very smooth nib, and I do think that Asvine are onto a winner here. It is an imitation though, so not everybody likes to buy imitation pens. Like, there are lots of Lamy knockoffs coming out of China. Clearly the Asvine is, it's not a direct knockoff. It's not like 100% of a knockoff, but it does take a similar design. That said, there are other demonstrators that Montblanc have, for instance, like the Skeleton, that you could also argue is maybe the Visconti copied from Montblanc. So it's always a little bit of a moot point for me. But in terms of the price on this pen, I have to say it is a really good price. So in terms of bang for bucks, I would say that it's worth picking up one of these pens to give it a try, because I have to say I am really liking this pen so far. So there you have it. That's my review of the Asvine V169 in the transparent green and gold trim with a medium steel nib. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next pen video. Bye bye.